afternoon, everyone. It is great to be here. This is our first time at Scaling New Heights, and to see everyone here, thank you. Thank you all for having us. I want to talk about the future of accounting, our view of it. It isn't about AI, it's about you, and it's our vision for what 2030 looks like. To talk about this, I find it helpful to go down memory lane a little bit, take a look at history, because I find history has a lot of good nuggets for us to learn for the future. Accounting might have been around for 7,000 years, and I think back then they didn't even call it accounting, but they knew one thing that was important. I had to track what's coming in and what's going out. Most of the basis of modern accounting was kind of built in the 1300s by the Venetians. There was a lot of complex trade, boats, ships, warehouses. In the 1800s and 1900s, where the profession emerged, CPAs, chartered accountants, Ernst & Young, PwC, Deloitte, these companies came up at a time where economies were industrializing, and they needed a basis of trust, compliance, make sure no fraud was occurring. Fast forward to more recent history, now we're in the software era, and these new tools are available to us. But the basis of accounting hasn't changed for the past 400 or 500 years. Now, what's interesting to me as someone who's building technology is, how does the work actually change? The work that you're doing day in and day out. Back in the 1300s, parchment, ink, quill. You write something, you made a mistake, you have to scratch it out. Eventually, they figured out how to bind parchment together into books. In the 1800s, now we're having a lot more new innovations. We had the abacus to help add, subtract things. We had typewriters, storage systems, so everything had a paper trail. I imagine that innovation actually created a lot more work for accountants than actually take away anything. And then in the software era, the biggest leap perhaps in technology, everything went digital. But as I look at this timeline, what stands out to me is the way accountants did the work changed. The work still had to be done. We still trust accountants to do the work, and only accountants to do the work. But instead of handwriting something, now you're typing something. Instead of storing something in file cabinets, figure out which file cabinet to open, which tab to put it in, you have everything in folder structures in a computer system. I do think the technology innovations have been phenomenal, but that's what I'm thinking about in terms of how our work is changing. And I want you to just hold on to all this as I move forward in this story. Let's talk a little bit more about technology. In a smaller crowd, I might try to ask, does anyone knows what this is? But it's a little bit hard in this kind of a forum, so let me just go ahead. Show of hands, does people recognize this movie? Great, I hope many of you do. The movie is Imitation Game by, forgot the actor's name, but he is playing, yes, thank you. He plays Alan Turing, a computer physicist back in the 1930s, 1950s. He helped decrypt the German communication code called Enigma, and he is the pioneer of what we know today as the computer. Even back then, he asked the question, can machines think? This idea of artificial intelligence isn't really new. For us who play in this space for the past many, many years, let's just say technology and AI is whatever we call the newest thing that could do something we didn't know it can do before. Like suddenly there's a tool called ChatGPT, you can type a prompt and then it writes out a whole essay for you. That is the newest wave of technology and AI, because we couldn't do that just a few years ago. Over the past 70 years, the industry has pushed forward on how to figure out how to apply artificial intelligence with computer and the internet at the center of it. In 1969, we had distributed networks going through the World Wide Web, browsers, the dot-com bubble, and all the other innovations since then. Now, while we may look at this and think automation, technology, all the things that it can do for us, what I'm more interested in thinking about is, what about data? As technology evolved, automation occurred, yes, but really what technology has unleashed is our ability to capture data. Think about the file storage system that I talked about. At one point, that was technology, right? The aluminum and the way you can assemble it in a manufacturing line. That was technology, and what did that unleash for us? More data, more storage of data. And so hold this thought in your head. We talked about the work that you're actually doing with hand writing to typewriting. And this trend between technology and data, I'm going to revisit this a little bit later. By the way, very quick, brief intro. My name is Alex. I'm the co-founder, CEO of Truewind. We're a San Francisco-based technology company building AI for accountants, specifically for accountants to help them with their work day in and day out. I'm a two-time startup founder, previously in venture capital, and started off my career as an engineer. This is also a dated photo, clearly when I still had hair. Great, let's go on to the main piece, artificial intelligence. If I did a quick Google search as to the benefits that AI will create in accounting. The text is a little small, I'll just read out a few things. Automating repetitive tasks, more proactive strategic advice, increased lean productivity, all things we think a lot about as we think about AI. And to summarize a few of them, the outcomes that we'd like to think that AI can give us, I hope these might resonate a bit with you, auto-classifying your bank and credit card transactions. It would be nice if we didn't have to go through QuickBooks and classify the things that it didn't know. Drafting your monthly financial statements and variance analysis. You probably have a template, the report comes out, but you need to do a bunch of tweaking yourself to get the report ready for your clients. Reading and extracting data from PDFs, receipts, and contracts. OCR, probably the greatest AI technology that accountants are very intimately familiar with. All with the hopes of the holy grail of a continuous real-time month-end close, advisor-grade insights. My takeaway from some of these things that we want AI to do is really around, we want AI to draft that work so then we can review that work, right? That's a lot of what we talk about. What we want this technology to do is should do the work and then we can review the work. I'm not disagreeing with any of this. I think this is all spot on and it continues to be a thing that we should drive forward to. What I want to use the remainder of my time to talk about here is going back to how our work is changing. Before we wrote things down, then we started typing things. I want to think about how it might change from the way we type today to the way we will interact with a computer tomorrow. Let's look at the first one, manually tagging transactions. It would be great if AI can do all of it, but that would kind of suck. You would need to review every transaction. You would spend just as much time doing that work. Okay, well, AI should make it so we only review the exceptions. Well, how do you know the AI got the other ones right without reviewing all of them? So now you're in this virtuous cycle of not gaining anywhere. Well, our view is you should be able to train the AI to do the work in the way that you expect it to. It's like when you hire a staff accountant. What's the first thing you do? You train them to operate the way you expect them to. And so that's how we think about the next wave of AI technology innovation is how do we put AI in your hands, not just a platform that you have to live within, but how do we let you interact with it so you train them to train the AI to do the work that you see fit. Drilling down to find insights. Right now, you open up QuickBooks, the senior accountant opens up QuickBooks, clicks on a cell, drills down, finds the vendors within it, brings it up with the controller. Now you have a dialogue to plan for that client meeting, make sure you're surfacing the right insights. Well, this behavior or this interaction is something that you should have with AI as well. AI has the details of the business, but there should be a Socratic dialogue approach to finding those insights. And the last one, perhaps my favorite, spend a lot of time in Excel. Click this cell, delete this number, cut this column. You know, this is all stored in a standard operating procedure somewhere. Well, right now, instead of just having the business context in your head and then trying to execute it with your fingers, why not explain that business context, explain the instructions to an AI so that it actually executes it the way that you see fit. I think this is very fitting for accountants because of the standard operating procedures that you write for your practices. This is something that AI, that's the bar you should hold, that AI automates for you and executes for you. So going back to this slide, yes, there will be some automation, but more importantly, what we think a lot about is how are we changing the work? And as we change the work that you do, what you are doing is creating more data for yourself, for your clients. With this data means more insights. And more insights is ultimately a great thing because it creates more economic value for your client and for the economy. We chose to build specifically for accountants because we believe you are the unsung heroes of modern business. The foundations, and generally mean it, the foundations of trust, the stewards of integrity, quietly brilliant and essential to every company. And the heart of all that is because you care. And for that reason, we don't believe that the jobs are going away. We believe there will be a Cambrian explosion of the demand for your work as long as the tools are there to service what you ultimately need. Now, wrapping up here. I have 15 seconds, so I'm going to gloss over the part about Truewind. We're at booth 85, so please come by, find us. We'd love to talk to you there. We have a big, shiny sign. You can't miss us. So let me just leave with, I got married recently. Thank you. This ring is 3 weeks new. That's my wife and I getting married in Italy. Again, my name is Alex. I'm building Truewind. It's great to be here with everyone. Thank you.